We're taught from a young age how to accomplish something. It starts even before grade school and kindergarten, but it really gets indoctrinated in grade school. It's a fairly intellectual memorization type approach. You like learn about something, you remember, you take a test to prove that you've learned it, and then when we get into the work world, we have projects we're working on, and you have to like build upon things to accomplish them. You do this, you do A, and then that leads to B, and there's like a step process. There's a process, a cognitive, rational, linear process that we work on. If you're building a house, you build the foundation, and then if you're learning in med school and learning some type of surgery or some medical thing, there's a process that you learn. And this is very necessary. It's very helpful, and it's for some things it's like the best way to accomplish something. Things that are more in this 3D intellectual make it happen kind of world, that's great. Okay? What I've learned is when you get into the realm of the spiritual realm and the emotional realm, they're almost like a different dimension. Okay? In fact, well, they kind of are a different dimension. And it doesn't necessarily work as well there. So what does work? What seems to work that I've found in myself and in the people I've worked with is that we build awareness about something. Okay, so we learn about it by experiencing it. I've called this experiential learning as another way I've talked, and this is a little bit of a different facet of that. So if we want to change a pattern, so say I've got a bad habit, I usually pick one like say I push people away that are trying to get close to me because it's, whatever, it's scary, or if they see how I really am, they'll run away or whatever it is. So I unconsciously say I push people away. So this is kind of an emotional or psychological, at the very least, pattern that I have. Okay, so then what do we do? And what I did actually is I first approached it like let's learn about it, let's understand it intellectually, and what are the dynamics, and what is the analysis of it, and why do I do that, and where did it come from? And that's all valuable, it to a point. But when it comes to really making the change, what seems to work much better is if I just like build awareness about it. Like I just notice it. I notice when I push someone away. I notice when I don't push someone away. Okay. I like watch this, and I listen to ideas about that. I might listen to a teacher instead of like taking notes, and like memorizing it and like really getting it down in my brain. It's almost like just absorbing the information. It's trusting that if I build awareness, if I build consciousness about this issue, okay, that when the time is right, the transition will happen. It just kind of falls away. Okay, and why does it do that? I'm not sure, which my mind does not like. It wants to know why that happens. But there may not be answers, at least that can be understood rationally. You can maybe understand those spiritually. If your consciousness goes to a different dimension, you can understand it, but it isn't ones and zeros. It may transcend logic and rational thought, which our mind doesn't particularly enjoy. So this is pretty revolutionary when we're working on something spiritual. Like, I went to a meditation retreat, and Adyashanti talked about spiritual awakening this way. He said, if you can't really accomplish spiritual awakening, you can't make it happen. What you can do is you can create the conditions for it. he talked about just going out to the edge of your consciousness and just kind of hanging out there. And then he would say, by the grace of God, the grace of spirit, you kind of then cross over. When all the things are there that you need energetically, the conditions are right, one day, perhaps when we're not trying real hard, it just kind of crosses over and we awaken. It's kind of like that. It's like that when we're breaking a pattern, or when we're trying to get like letting go is a great example. It's like, how many times like, oh, you need to let go of that old pattern, or you need to let go of that. So I've done ceremonies. I've done letting go ceremonies. It's like, okay, now let it go. It's like that whole, okay, we're sitting by the fire. Throw it in the fire now. Let it go. So have you ever tried to do that? Like it doesn't always work. At least it doesn't work on cue like that, perhaps. So I still do letting go ceremonies, but they have a bit of a different intention these days. It's more like when I say I release away my pattern of pushing people away that are trying to love me, and I'm doing ceremony, and say I'm in sweat lodge and I do a prayer of release, or I throw it into the fire. It's like, what I'm saying is I'm putting out this intention. I'm committing to letting this go. It's almost more of a commitment, an intentional type thing. It's like saying, Spirit, myself, my witnesses, my brothers and sisters, it's like, I'm committing to making this change. I'm going to let go of the pattern of pushing people away. Now that has value, okay, because that's energetic. Okay, but there's not a how-to-do list. There's what we want. There's a how, like, first of all, I do this, and then I release it away, and then it doesn't work, and it's more nebulous. But rather, by committing to it, I'm building awareness. I'm building consciousness. I'm aligning my intention. I'm creating an intention, which energetically starts allowing me to let go of the old pattern. And then I just kind of trust that when I do it, I just kind of notice it. It's like just absorbing in this information, noticing, paying attention to things, not even, and it's like going to a spiritual talk and not taking notes, not like making, just letting it in and trusting. Here's the big part. This is the kind of the takeaway. We need to learn to trust that this works. We need to trust that if we build awareness, it will get us to the point where we cross over and accomplish what we're trying to do. We're just taking a different route there. Okay, now how do we trust that? Like everything else, by doing it. And at first when we do it, our mind's going to be just like, well, this is never going to work. You can't just we need to take notes when the guy talks, or like, tell me how to do this. Another retreat I went to with Adyashanti, we got there the first day and he did this guided meditation and he never really told us how to meditate. And I was pissed. It was my first retreat. I was pissed. It's like, seriously, I paid money. I reserved a week out of my life to be here. And the dude isn't even going to tell me how to meditate. Okay. He's doing these metaphors, and it's just like, it's kind of like this, and then you just kind of find presence, find that place that's pure presence inside. And my mind's going, what the hell? Like, what do you mean pure presence? I can't grab that. I can't touch it. I can't make that happen. And then a couple days later in the retreat, he told us, he goes, I did that on purpose, because if you find it inside of yourself, if you experience it inside of yourself, it actually takes you to a way better place. He goes, I could teach you a rational way to meditate. And there are rational ways to meditate. There's people will tell you, this is the way you meditate. You do this. You breathe in this way. You do this thing. And they're great. They're great. But he's like, if you can just kind of find that place of presence and kensho, or connection inside yourself, by just sitting there and experiencing it, and feeling your way around till you feel something that feels like it. He says that just saves you years of meditation, because you're going to the pure space, not the intellectual concept of the space. You're going right into direct experience, direct awareness of the space. He goes, it saves so much time, but it's frustrating at the beginning. And that's kind of, so it's trusting that if I fumble around with it, that it's frustrating, but then when I experience it, maybe it's closer to it. If I just trust that I'm noticing this pattern, okay, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I did it again. Oh, I was better this time, and I just am paying attention, and I'm gathering information that's building my awareness. My awareness, it needs experience. And my mind is figuring it all out, but not in not in an intellectual sort of way. It's more like getting a feel for it, you could say. It's getting a feel for it. And then after we notice it about 20 times, then we start saying, it seems like when I do it, it's always when I'm a little off or threatened by something, and that's when I tend to push it away. Now, that's not something that I would have got by reading a book. That's gotten by noticing it and experiencing it and failing. And it's like, oh, I did it again. Oh, damn it. I pushed someone else away. Damn. Now why, I wonder. And then we just notice it, and then we start building awareness. And the bottom line is when we build enough awareness and enough consciousness, the change naturally happens. It's kind of trusting that we're wired to make change. We don't have to do anything other than pay attention and build awareness. And when we build enough awareness, it just kind of crosses over. One day when we're not expecting it at all. And then all of a sudden it's like, you know what? It doesn't seem like I push people away anymore. I wonder when that happened. Did it happen last Tuesday? I'm not even sure when it happened. But I just haven't seen, it seems like I haven't done it for like a month now. And that's often how it is, which is also, it's not this big crescendo of like, catharsis. I mean, sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's more subtle. So that's what I want to invite you to consider. And that's my video for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy your week. I hope you're having some really nice fall weather. I hope you have a happy Halloween, and that you enjoyed the lunar eclipse and all the fun, energetic things that are going on this time of year. And yeah, as you go through your week, just maybe practice just noticing and building awareness and trusting that as you build awareness, eventually you will get there. Even if your mind keeps saying, why aren't we doing something? Why aren't we working on this? Well, we are working on it in a different way. So I will see you in a week.